She stopped just inside the lobby because her phone lit up in her hand, and the security guard at the desk looked up long enough to nod before returning to the clipboard. The building smelled faintly of floor polish and warm air from the vents, the kind that ran all winter, and the glass doors behind her closed, with a soft sealed sound as another tenant stepped through and hurried toward the elevators. On her screen, the family group chat sat open with a new message pinned at the bottom. Simple and casual, as if it had been written while someone was already walking away from the conversation. Eating early today. Come, if you can, just let us know. She moved out of the foot traffic and stood beside a stone column that was colder than it looked then, angled the phone to avoid the ceiling lights reflecting across the words, while the guard's pen scratched steadily on paper and the lobby clock ticked above the mailboxes. A woman with a stroller rolled past and pressed the elevator button twice, the stroller wheels squeaking softly on the tile, and a man in a suit adjusted his scarf and checked his watch without looking at anyone else. She tapped the reply field and the keyboard rose up bright and clean, filling half the screen with letters that waited as if nothing could be simpler than choosing the right ones. Her thumbs moved quickly at first, forming a short sentence that sat polite and neutral in the white box, the kind of sentence that never demanded space. I'm on my way. She held the phone still with both hands, her right thumb hovering above the blue send arrow while the elevator doors opened and closed behind her, and the sound of voices from inside the elevator briefly filled the lobby before fading again. The message remained unsent as she shifted the strap of her bag higher on her shoulder and glanced toward the street through the glass doors, where the late afternoon light turned passing cars into moving reflections. A new bubble appeared above the last message as someone else in the group chat replied first. The text arriving fast and settled, like a decision already made. No worries. We'll order now. Her thumb moved back to the reply box and she erased the last two words, then erased the whole line, then typed again, more slowly, letter by letter, while a maintenance worker pushed a cart past the front desk and the guard slid the clipboard aside to sign another form. This time she wrote, "What time are you starting?" And the question mark blinked at the end like a small request, then disappeared when she pressed backspace, then returned when she typed it again, then disappeared again as her thumb erased it once more. She stepped closer to the window by the mailboxes, not to look outside but to get farther from the elevator traffic, and the phone screen reflected faintly in the glass as she typed, stopped, typed again, and stopped again. The guard's chair creaked as he shifted, and he asked the man in the suit to sign in for a delivery pickup, the conversation taking place in plain, ordinary voices that made the lobby feel like a place where nothing dramatic ever happened. She typed, "I can come for a little while," then added, "If you still need me," then removed the last phrase, leaving the sentence clipped and tidy as if it were meant for someone who would not read between the lines. Another message popped in from the chat, short and practical, followed by a thumbs-up reaction from someone else. "We're eating at 5. She looked at the time on her phone, then at the lobby clock above the mailboxes, then at the time again, and the difference between the numbers was small enough to be ignored. Yet she checked twice, as if accuracy could change the reality of getting there. Her thumb hovered over send again, then drifted down and pressed the text field instead, moving the cursor to the middle of the sentence as if she could fix the moment by adjusting one word. She erased little and replaced it with a bit, then erased a bit and replaced it with nothing. Then read the line again from the beginning without moving her mouth. The elevator dinged and opened, and a teenager stepped out with headphones on and a hoodie pulled high, walking past her without glancing up, while she stood still with the phone held at chest height like a small shield. A new message arrived above her unsent line, this one from a different name. The tone casual, almost cheerful. "Okay, just let us know." She scrolled up slightly, then back down, then stared at the phrase, "Just let us know," as if it were a door that could swing either way, depending on who pushed it. While the lobby's automatic doors opened again and a gust of colder air briefly rolled across the floor. She typed "okay" as a response, then deleted it, typed "sure," then deleted it, typed "I'll try," then deleted it, each attempt appearing for a second and disappearing as though the phone were recording only her hesitation. A small boy ran ahead of his father toward the elevator shoes, slapping lightly on tile, and the father apologized to the guard with a quick smile, and the guard smiled back, and the ordinary warmth of that exchange passed by her without sticking. She stepped toward the elevators as if she might leave right then stopped again near the mailboxes, and the phone buzzed once more with another message that landed on the screen like a quiet closing of a discussion. "We'll probably be done by 6. Her thumbs began to move more steadily, writing a longer sentence that looked like an explanation, a polite refusal wrapped in careful words. And the line grew until it filled most of the reply box. "I might not make it today, but I hope you all have a good dinner, and maybe I can come by another time." She read it once, then twice, then placed the cursor at the beginning and deleted the first 2 words, then added them back again, then removed the phrase, "I hope," then added it again, the sentence shifting shape like a coat being adjusted for a weather that kept changing. The elevator doors opened, and the stroller woman finally stepped inside, and the man in the suit followed, and the doors closed, leaving the lobby briefly emptier, the air quieter, the light slightly harsher, without bodies moving through it. She held her phone with both hands and stared at the blue send arrow. Then lowered the phone a few inches and looked at her reflection in the glass door across the lobby. The screen's glow faint on her face, her coat still buttoned, her bag still on her shoulder as if she had been ready to go somewhere. The guard cleared his throat and called her by name, reading it off the package label in his hand, and she turned her head, and he held up a small box and asked if it belonged to her, and she nodded and walked over to sign for it. The pen felt slightly sticky in her fingers, and she wrote her name carefully on the line, then tucked the box under her arm, and as she turned back toward the column, her phone buzzed again, the vibration audible against the cardboard. She looked down and saw a new line beneath the earlier messages. "Are you coming or not?" She typed a single word, "Yes," and it appeared too bold, too final, too clean, and she deleted it immediately. Then typed "No," and deleted that too. Then typed "Not sure," and deleted that as well, leaving the reply field empty again as if the question had never been asked. A neighbor from the 4th floor stepped into the lobby carrying a grocery bag, paused near the mailboxes, and glanced at her, and the neighbor's eyes flicked briefly to the box under her arm before the neighbor looked away and began sorting letters with one hand. She typed again, this time a sentence that did not answer the question directly but filled space around it. "I'll let you know as soon as I can," and she watched the words sit there, polite and smooth, like a sentence written to avoid causing any inconvenience. The elevator dinged again, and the doors opened, and she stepped inside without thinking, still holding the phone, still watching the unsent sentence glow against the gray interior of the elevator. A man inside the elevator shifted to make room, keeping his eyes on the floor numbers, and she stood near the corner with the box against her side, the phone in front of her, the cursor blinking at the end of the line as if it could keep time. As the elevator rose, another message appeared, and the phone buzzed in her hands. "We're already sitting down." Her thumbs moved quickly, adding words to the sentence so that it became longer, softer, less direct. "I'm so sorry. I'm running behind. Please don't wait for me. I don't want to hold anyone up." She stared at the new sentence, then placed the cursor in the middle and removed, so then removed. "Please," then removed. "I don't want," then added, "I just," then removed that to the line, becoming a patchwork of politeness that could never quite say what it needed to say. The elevator stopped at her floor, and the doors opened, and she stepped out into the quieter hallway, where the carpet muted her footsteps, and the ceiling lights were dimmer, and the air smelled faintly like someone's dinner cooking behind a closed door. She walked toward her apartment with the box tucked under her arm, the phone still in her hand, and her unsent message still open, and when she reached her door she paused, not unlocking it immediately, as if the hallway itself were a place to wait. A door farther down opened and closed, and someone's keys jingled, and the sound traveled softly along the corridor, while she stared at the screen and watched the reply field fill the whole center of her attention. She tapped and held the text until it highlighted blue, then hit delete, and the entire paragraph vanished at once, leaving a blank reply field and the last message. "We're already sitting down," resting above it like a final arrangement. She locked the phone, the screen going dark, then unlocked it again, immediately, and opened the chat again as if she might undo the deletion, then stared at the empty reply field without typing. She unlocked her door, stepped inside, and the apartment greeted her with stillness and the soft hum of the refrigerator, and she set the package on the counter, removed her coat, and hung it carefully on the hook by the door. The phone buzzed again, but she did not look at it right away. Instead, she washed her hands, dried them on a towel, and put the towel back exactly where it hung, then stood at the sink and watched water drip from the faucet tip into the basin. When she finally picked up the phone, the newest message was short and already moving the conversation forward. "Okay, we'll catch you next time." She opened the reply field and typed "Have a good dinner," then deleted it, typed "Sorry," then deleted it, typed "Thanks," then deleted it, leaving the field empty again, while the chat continued to slide upward with small reactions from others. She set the phone face down on the counter, turned on the kettle, and took 2 mugs from the cabinet before putting one back, then stood there until the kettle clicked and the water began to warm the quiet tasks filling the minutes that the chat had already left behind. The phone vibrated once more against the counter, muffled by the tile, and she did not turn it over, choosing instead to pour water into the single mug, stir in nothing, and carry it to the table where the chair was pushed in neatly. She sat down, placed the mug in front of her, and let the steam rise and disappear while the phone stayed face down on the counter, and the apartment held its calm without asking her to prove where she would be at 5 o'clock. When the mug cooled slightly, she stood up, walked back to the counter, picked up the phone, and powered it off with a long press until the screen went black, then set it down again, face up this time, as if closing a small door gently rather than slamming it. The kettle's warmth faded, the apartment remained still, and the family dinner began somewhere else without her reply ever leaving the screen, because the message had been typed and deleted and never sent.